Travel Talk, where our expert magical memory planners discuss ways you can have fun, memorable, and stress-free family vacations. Hi, everyone. On this episode of Travel Talk, we're going to talk about why to give the gift of travel. So a lot of times this time of year, we start talking about what we're giving our family and what we're looking for to get for the holidays and for Christmas. And you'll often see on our website and things the idea of giving the gift of travel. But what does that mean? And what are some tips that we have to help you do that if that's something that you want to do? So first, let's talk about why the gift of travel. The reason we think that travel makes an amazing gift is because it's a gift that first of all, like fits everyone, right? It also is something that's not going to get tossed aside and forgotten. So sometimes the gift is the biggest and the newest for this year, but in a month, 2 months, 6 months, that item gets tossed aside, it gets replaced, or it gets forgotten. But when we talk about travel, these are experiences that shape us. It's connections that we make with our family that are memories that we're going to last forever. And so it's a gift that gives on forever. So in our family, when we travel, we often get a Christmas ornament in the destination that we go to. And so every year when we're putting up our Christmas tree, we start pulling out these ornaments and start remembering different events that happen, funny moments, the things that we tried that we never got to try before. And it starts these conversations and these memories, and it brings all those ideas back. And it reminds me that those travel experiences are still giving back to us. They haven't been forgotten or tossed aside, and they're still a part of our family, and they help us remember. So another thing we do after trips is often make a photo book. And so that photo book comes out. And recently my teenagers were all sitting around with this pile of photo books, pulling them out and looking through and remembering the excursions that we went on and the activities that we did. We went zip lining, we went cave tubing, funny food stories that we remember where on one trip, my son had lamb every single night. Lamb is his favorite, and the server brought him lamb every night. And we still laugh about that every night that he had to have the lamb, and the server would call for the mint sauce, bring the mint sauce, and they would serve him lamb every night. So these are memories that we continue to tell, stories we tell, and laughter, and it bonds our family together. And so that's why giving the gift of travel is a gift that keeps giving and something that you might want to consider. So maybe you think the idea is great, but you're not sure how to execute it. And it seems a little bit overwhelming because sometimes people are concerned, well, what am I going to give my kids on Christmas morning? And they want to open gifts. And maybe it's not exactly the right fit. And what are my options? So I want to talk through 4 of the ways or 4 tips in this process, 4 ways that you could give the gift of travel from the very, very detailed all the way to the very vague. So hopefully one of these will maybe fit what you're looking to do. So the first way to give the gift of travel is really like the most detailed way. And this is great for parents that are maybe planning a trip for their children. And so they know the schedule, they know what needs to be done, and they don't necessarily need the impact or the input from the children in order to plan the trip. So in this scenario, you can work with your travel advisor and you can plan out all the details of the trip. So whether it's a cruise, you can book the room and the excursions and the activities. Whether it's a Disney vacation, you can plan dining reservations. It's an all-inclusive. You can get all of those details put together. You know all the information, so you can pick the dates. You know what's going to work for your family. You can get the air. You can get everything taken care of. So in this scenario, you can get your trip planned, booked, and all figured out before Christmas and get that worked out with your travel advisor. Now that you know exactly what you're doing, and maybe this is a trip for spring break, maybe it's early in the new year, maybe it's in January or February, right after the holidays, or maybe it's even in the summer. But now that you know what you're doing, you can use that as inspiration for what you're going to put under the tree. So since maybe a bulk of your budget for your holidays was spent on the trip itself, you don't want to necessarily spend a lot of money on the things under the tree, but certainly you can find lots of things that the kids can unwrap that will slowly help them to understand that what the ultimate gift is a trip. And so some of the things that you might want to buy to put under the tree, and things that you're probably going to buy anyway to bring on your vacation, you could do special t-shirts that all match. You could do lanyards, depending on where you're going. Maybe new backpacks or luggage. Maybe you need passport wallets because this is the first big trip you guys are taking out of the country. Some other ideas we had was some of the different components of the trip could be wrapped up along the way. So maybe you're going to plan a dolphin excursion. And so you get some just like little toy dolphins that are pretty inexpensive, but you package that up as something that they can open. And so those different components of the trip could be booked. If you're going to Disney, maybe you have magic bands. And so you can go ahead and order those ahead of time and have those to wrap and put under the tree. So special backpacks, things that they're going to need for the flight, maybe neck pillows, maybe they need new pajamas for the trip, maybe they need new bathing suits because you're going someplace warm. So all of those types of things could be put under the tree. Maybe you're planning a cruise to Alaska. And so maybe you want to get everybody binoculars. So some of these items that you'd probably buy for the trip anyway are the great items that you would want to wrap up and put under the tree. And then maybe after they open all these things, it's like, well, why did I get you all these things? Well, guess what? This is where we're going. And even that can be part of the opening process. One year we gave our kids a Disney cruise. And so we packed box inside a box inside a box. And each box that they opened had another wrapped box, but on top of it was a clue. So they read the clue and then they opened the next box and they worked their way through the boxes. But the other gifts they opened were bathing suits and lanyards and new backpacks and things that they needed for the trip. So if you know all the details and you're able to make those decisions for the vacation, this would be the ultimate trip gift would be to get it all planned and have it all done and give it to your family on Christmas. So the second option is something that maybe you don't have exactly all the details. So maybe you're a grandparent or a family friend or something like that, or even parents of adult children, and you're not really sure you can finalize all the details, but you want to get something started. So in this scenario, our recommendation is that you book something that is refundable. So maybe you wait on the airfare, but you get the package booked, or you get the cruise booked, or you get some of the components booked that can be changed. And this way you have like a starting thing, you have a starting option, but you can still have flexibility to change it. And so in this scenario, you could have your travel advisor put together a sample itinerary of what the trip could look like with maybe some choices involved. And once you give everybody the gifts and they open everything up, you can kind of go through and say, well, what do you want to do? So we have 3 hotel choices at Disney, or we have, excursion choices, or we have 2 different cruise itineraries, and you get to pick which one. So if you have a lot of the information together, they can finalize those details, but you can have that deposit done. The gift giver can be working with the travel agent to take care of the payments, and the gift recipient can work with the travel agent to finalize the details and get the rest of the trip figured out. So if you don't really even have that much detail, you could take another step back, and this is our third option. So with our third option, you could give a family maybe just 2 vacation choices, 2 or 3. So maybe it's like pick your trip and you have 2 or 3 scenarios that are in your budget that you're going to think what they want to do. And you have your travel advisor put together these 2 or 3 scenarios, and that family can unwrap it. And then they get to choose the dates and the location that they want to go. So maybe choice 1 is a Disney vacation to Caribbean beach resort for 5 days with tickets. And you kind of have that kind of mapped out of what that would look like. Maybe scenario 2 is a Royal Caribbean cruise for 4 or 5 nights out of Port Canaveral, and you have those ideas kind of mapped out. And maybe scenario 3 is an all-inclusive to the Caribbean, something like Dreams Flying with Harry's, and you kind of have an idea of what that would look like. They're all in your budget. You kind of know what the options are, and the family just has to solidify the dates and which type of vacation they want to pick. So they know they're getting a trip, they know that they're going someplace special, but they still have the idea and the ability to kind of pick out those final details. So our fourth scenario, and this is really the most open-ended one, if you really want to give the gift of travel and you really aren't sure what they want to do, then you could think about giving them some gift cards. So you could put together a gift card to the airline. So maybe if you know out of their local home airport, they typically will fly Southwest or American or Delta. You could get a gift card for like $1,000 for their favorite airline. You could get them a gift card for a destination, like a Royal Caribbean gift card, a Holland America gift card, a Disney gift card. And then they can kind of put together where they want to go, when they want to go. And even if it doesn't cover it 100%, it gives them a good chunk of what they need to get where they want to go. One of the things I love about Disney gift cards is that they can be used at all of the Disney destinations. So they would have a choice of either going to Disney World or Disneyland in California if they want to do something domestic. They could go to Aulani, which is technically still domestic, but feels pretty tropical out in Hawaii. They could do a Disney cruise if they're looking to do something like a cruise destination. But even if they're looking to do something international like Adventures by Disney, they could still use their gift cards for that. So that type of gift card gives them a large amount of flexibility. And then you could give them some airline gift cards to go with it. So this way you can kind of spur on the idea of travel and kind of work on it and get them moving in the right direction without having all the details picked out. So, these are just 4 different ways that you could give the gift of travel. It is such a great gift because, like I said, it's the gift that keeps giving. They'll always remember the trip. They'll always have the memories. It'll last the rest of their life. And it's a gift that they'll never toss aside or be replaced with something else. So if you're thinking about giving the gift of travel, I hope some of these ideas help you get into the right direction. And we highly encourage you to reach out to a travel advisor like Magical Memory Planners to help you work out those details, get inspiration, and get your details put together. Thanks so much. Have a great one.